Well, that's again a citable offense, and I think it's important to remember that in Missouri and just about any other state in the union, if you're the officer has the discretion of whether taking you into a full custody arrest or writing you a citation and releasing you. And again, those other factors come into play. For instance, as a police officer, if I stopped you on campus and you were extremely intoxicated, the last thing I want is for me to write you a ticket and then you be found in an alley later on, either seriously injured or dead with my ticket in your pocket. Because I had an opportunity to take care of you, and it's my responsibility as a law enforcement officer to do so. So again, those factors come into play. Watching how much you drink, making sure you stop before you know you have to walk home so that you're in control. In control, I think, is the biggest thing that I would advise for college students. If you're in control, the likelihood of you even coming in contact with the police is minimized greatly. We have several options. Depending on the level of intoxication, we can transport you to the hospital if it's that bad. And we frequently find students passed out, in an alley. And we have to make the call then whether this is a transport to the jail or if it's transport to the hospital. Neither are good. So getting back to that issue of control again, stay within control, and those kinds of things don't happen. Any kind of a quota is just unrealistic. Now, officers do go out and they're expected to work issues that are of concern in their area of responsibility. Officers are assigned to a beat. And it's my expectation that if, let's just say, people are breaking into homes in that area, that officer is concentrating on that crime. The part that, university community that some people get confused sometimes is that the officers are out there harassing the citizens, or the students. Say in mixed communities where you have students living in some houses and you have just folks that have lived a long time in those residences. East Campus is a good example. That they're out there looking for students messing up. And we are sometimes. But it's almost always based on a complaint by a citizen. We get frequent complaints about fireworks late at night, people yelling and screaming late at night out on the streets, and again, that's people out of control, not doing the right thing. And if those things weren't happening, that officer wouldn't be down there. Trust me, we have better things to do. But because of those calls for service, police go to the calls for service. It depends. If you're not there, it's kind of hard to hold you accountable for being in control of it. But if you're allowing your house to be used for parties and things like that knowingly, yeah, you could get into trouble. And that goes a lot further. Not just could you get in trouble with the law, but with the person that's leasing you the home. They're leasing it to you while you're in school, and they can just as easily not lease it to you if you're going to cause problems for them. So the nuisance abatement thing you're talking about, as the police, we're going to be questioning everybody that's responsible when we have a location that's the location of frequent parties. And we're going to go not only to the person that's on the lease, but we're going to go to the person that owns the business, that owns the home as well. And we're going to be putting pressure on them to fix the problem. How old are you? And if you're under 21, you're in possession of alcohol under Missouri state law.
Okay.
So just holding the beer, not even having taken a sip yet, you just opened it, you are in violation of Missouri law.
Okay.
If you finish that beer and you're under 21, you're in your possession of alcohol by consumption, which means you've already consumed it. Both are against the law in the state of Missouri. And I think that one of those things that people don't understand sometimes is they say, well, I'm 21, why doesn't the officer know that? Well, a lot of things tell us that people are under 21. Appearance, a lot of the times. And if you don't look 21, the officer has a right to confirm that you are if you're in possession of alcohol. And that gets a lot of people sometimes, well, why am I being hassled? Well, you look young. I'm sorry, but you look young, and that's why the officer's asking for your ID.
Right, right.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we are participating in a grant from the state of Missouri and I don't remember the exact numbers now, but what they pay for is 2 officers in the city to do nothing but work on DWI enforcement. We do DWI enforcement checkpoints. The officers are on routine patrol the nights that we know we have a lot of intoxicated drivers out there, and it's the same nights that people like to go out. Those are the nights they're out. And so I strongly encourage you, it's something you don't even want to think about, is getting a DWI. And there are so many options for people. You know, the taxis, and the city's working on taxi stands and things like that to make it more convenient for students to get a ride home. Stripes, take advantage of those. There is absolutely no good reason to get a DWI in this city. We do not frequently do it, but we do send officers in plain clothes. And the purpose of that is not to be sneaky or anything like that. We are cooperating with the bars. We don't want to put a damper on anyone's good time. So how you should handle it is recognize that something you did, whether maybe you look youthful or maybe you're having a better time than everybody else in the bar, has drawn the attention of a police officer. And it could be any mixture of those factors. And they could approach you. What I suggest every time is cooperate with them. If you're over 21, it's going to be over and painless in no time. If you're intoxicated to the point where the officer thinks that you're going to need some assistance, and again, you're a danger to yourself or could be a danger to someone else, they make the decision to take further action. But most of the time, it's just a confirmation that you are who you are and you're 21 years old and you should be in this establishment. And the plain clothes thing is kind of a compromise between us and the bar owners. You know, they recognize, even if you're 21, 22, it's not the most pleasant thing to look up and see a police officer when you're having a good time. And we're not about ruining good people's good time. But, you know, just cooperate, and then we'll go on down the road if everything's as it should be. It's a very, very good question. And, you know, we respond to calls, and I kind of tell my police officers this as well. We go where the problems are, you know, and the shootings and stabbings and things like that do occur. Very, very hard to predict. A lot of those shootings, stabbings, and things like that are related to alcohol, are related to drugs. So, you know, we would much rather intervene in a fight between 2 students downtown involving alcohol than come down and one of those students be seriously hurt and we'd be working a very serious crime or even a homicide because of that fight, and they do happen. So all of those things, you know, we have to respond to whether we like it or not. Everything in this city, 65 square miles, is our responsibility. And when we can keep a lid on the little things, the big things tend to happen less often.